Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nuts at the Round Table. I'm Luca, and this is TJ.
Hello
And
there.
for tonight's edition, we're reviewing a independent film called The Holy Mountain.
Yes.
And this film is about a Hispanic alchemist who leads a figure of Christ, the thief, and a group of other figures up a mountain in search of enlightenment.
Okay. Pretty. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, that's pretty to the point. What was your thoughts on the movie?
It's very surreal. It gets off to a weird start. Like, we have the cool light music, and we get a lot of nudity, and
Yes. It gets off to a
it
weird
gets,
start.
gets bizarre. Things are being represented in a bizarre way.
It gets into a bizarre, weird start, into a bizarre middle, and concluding in a weird end.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a very. This. We need this. Yeah. We're back to the surreal films, folks.
Yeah.
Anyways, look, many people think I've heard a few people say this is one of the weirdest films they've ever seen, like online. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah, it is a. Boy, we're gonna be.
Make sure to rent it for $4.99 on iTunes.
Yeah, yeah. It is a very. All right. So what aspects did you find the most striking or interesting? So what are the aspects?
We get a few subtle references to historical events such as the Holocaust, the Middle Ages, Stone Ages, Trojan War, and etc. Like, we get all these historical events taking place.
Yeah.
They struck out to me.
Yeah, there's also the conquest in Mexico with the little lizards and the toads.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals put in.
Yeah,
They just love to play with animals.
a little animal. Yeah. That's one of the things that kind of bother me a bit. I don't think they harmed any of the animals too much, but still, that's one of the aspects of the movie I didn't really like. How do we begin with this? It's what? No, it's like what?
Should we introduce the characters?
Yeah, I mean, the characters aren't really. The movie is very. The movie is a. The characters are very symbolic. They don't have a. I mean, they do have character to them, but they're less movie. But they're not they're not characters in the traditional sense of characters. Like they're not supposed to. They're not really supposed to be human,
They're
or
embodiments.
natural.
So do you want to say their names and where they're from, or should I do it?
You should do that. I'm terrible with names.
Okay. So we have the protagonist, the thief, who is from Earth, Fawn from Venus, Isla from Mars, Clen from Jupiter, Cell from Saturn, Berg from Uranus, Axon from Neptune, and Let from Pluto.
Well, they're symbolized by the planets.
And then there's the alchemist. I don't know where he's from.
Who is the sun? I believe, like he has the symbol of the sun.
They never introduced Mercury. Why is that?
I do not know. Like it might just be. It might just be. Might just not be part of astrology, but I'm not sure. That's a thing on. A thing I like about. Anyway, this just brings me to a thing I like about the film. Alejandro Jodorowsky. I don't know if I'm explaining his name right. Like, he is a very eccentric man, to put it lightly. Like, obviously made the Holy Mountain, but he's also into many things, such as he's into tarot. He worked in theater. He seems to be a very spiritual man from what I've seen of him, and this is all reflected in the Holy Mountain. Like there's obviously a lot of symbolism with tarot. The most obvious one to me was the thief, who is associated with the fool, one of the most popular images from tarot. And there's also then there's some other imagery that is pulled from the cards, and I'm sure a lot of different places. And yeah, but the thing I like about this movie is that even though it is very esoteric, well, elements of it are very esoteric, it doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah, and there's also elements that are very what's the word, like obvious.
Off-putting?
What?
Are they off-putting?
Not, well, a lot of things are off-putting.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there are a lot of elements that are very over the top, and that's not a bad thing. Like a lot of, like some of the critique, like who is the police captain? What's his name?
Axon.
Axon. Thank you. I mean, there's the commentary with Axon, who has a wall of testicles, which is a pretty blatant blatant matches / symbolism. And there's a number of other moments in the film like that.
Yeah, the movie does tend to slip in some off-putting moments here and there.
Yeah.
It's like the movie wants us to get distracted from the actual story.
Yeah, I think part of that's just the symbolism and just how the film is structured. There's also, oh, by the way, The Alchemist.
Yes.
That is Jodorowsky.
It's Alejandro, yeah.
Yeah, it's Al.
I know.
Which, again, like this film can be very over the top. Over the top, that's the word. The film can be very over the top at times, which just makes it very enjoyable. Anyways, do you think the characters serve their function, though, as more symbolic elements?
Yeah, of course. They do a really good job at it. Oh yeah, not only are they symbols, but they also represent the Knights of the Round Table.
Why would you say that?
Because they're in search of something. Like they go on a quest, and
so why would it be the right Knights of the Round Table in particular?
Well, for one, they get seated at a literal round table. And
that just...
Two, they go on a quest for something holy.
I mean, with all due respect, a lot of people, like a lot of characters throughout fantasy and religion, go on holy quests for objects.
Exactly.
And they're not just sat, and the round table isn't really brought up. They also sit at an eye-shaped table.
Well, it's a circular table.
I mean, but that I don't think that was an intentional element. Although you could kind of see. I mean, you could probably see the Alchemist as a Merlin type character, but that's a lot of it. What's your thoughts on the visuals of the film?
Like, what do you mean?
Like the cinematography, the sets,
the
blocking.
It looks almost realistic. Like they as we said earlier, they intend everything to be over the top in the movie.
Yeah. I took it as more of a magical reality for, like, there's just, the production of this film is just incredible. Like, on one hand, it feels like a very late night movie, for lack of a better term, with a lot of extras and a lot of these weird fake looking props, but just the scale they managed to pull off is just great. And also I like the visuals of the film. Like, you have so many, like, there's all the stuff that happens in the Alchemist's tower. You have a bunch of, what else? You got, there's a lot of extra scenes, which is just, and that must have been hard to work on. I found the visuals and production to be very appealing. Beyond the how I found the visuals and production to be enjoyable, no.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What do you think of the fourth wall breaks in the film?
I thought that. Oh yeah, some spoilers. Also spoilers ahead.
Yep.
There's a lot of fourth wall breaks, including the end, which is just. Well, I don't know how they did that, but I thought it was fitting. As I mentioned, like, the film doesn't really take itself too seriously, and I think that helps it. And also, I think it.
Yeah, I actually find the ending quite surprising. So the movie builds up to the main characters wanting to gain enlightenment, but it is ultimately revealed to just be a series of tests. And the thief's mission all along was to find love, while the rest of them were set up to prove their worth. They're all images, as mentioned, and I think the film does great in expressing each character's image.
Yeah, that scene is just. That works so well. There's also a lot of grotesque moments in the film. How'd you, like, we brought this up before, but how'd you find that?
Find them very, very visual.
Yeah, there's.
I know we're using the same words over and over, but I'm just giving my honest opinion.
Yeah, I would. This film does not always seek to be pleasant. There's just so many horrific moments. You got the scene where the thief comes across these people who take a mold out of him because he looks like Jesus, and they want these life-size molds, and then he just have this great scene, but it's sort of off. But it's off.
How to make gold 101.
He also poops into a cup. Yeah, it was all that. Yeah, it was a. It's also. I found the film, and this is partially inspired by other people I've heard on the internet, like just videos and such. I found it a spiritual journey. That's which is basically the whole. I mean, that's the whole. I don't have much else to say in it. But what's your thought on the commentary of the film?
It's actually well done. I like the commentary.
Yeah, like
because it helps us understand what's going on.
Yes, you have to go to the art factory.
Doesn't totally help us what's going on, but it helps us enough.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously trying to say something. And I'll confess, I'm not the authority on this film, and I'm not able to interpret all the images. But he's obviously going for something. It's not just random images for random images' sake. Well, some of them are, but for the most part, the film is very intentional. The film feels very intentional.
What are your thoughts on the limbless man?
Oh yeah. I've heard. I think I've heard someone. Well, I thought it was kind of sad for him to throw up in the ocean near the end.
Yeah, but it's his imagination, though.
Yeah,
it's a part of him from inside.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's supposed to be taken too literally, but still, it's sad for him to throw him off the boat, even if we don't see him do it. I thought he worked well for the film. I thought it worked. I'm comparing it to other films, notably. Apparently Jodorowsky grew up in a circus or something like that, and apparently.
What was his position in the circus?
What?
What was his position in the circus?
I don't know. I think his family worked there, like he was just a child. I don't know much about it. So that's why many of his films have people with missing limbs and other such things like that. It's just. I like the soundtrack. How about you?
I'm not a fan of it. It's not my kind of music.
What did you not like about it?
It's
Like obviously,
just creepy. Like you know it's gonna lead up to something scary.
yeah, going along with the more horrific elements of the film. There's a lot of music that does feel like it could work in a horror film. Like it doesn't. It's not horror music so much, but like it does. But it could work. But I also found there was other two themes that were more pleasant, which I found to be enjoyable. It's not my
What
favorite.
themes?
Let's see the theme. See the theme when we see the prostitutes. That was good.
Mhm.
Like, and we also meet his love. I like the theme that plays in the tower. There's another one that's played near the beginning, but I don't remember which area it's from. Like I listened to it separately. What was some of your favorite visual elements of the film? Like some of your favorite visuals?
Let's see. I like the visuals of the planets of the solar system, like the other characters' worlds. I like the thief's world, and another visual scene is when we see ants covering the thief's face, and the windless man has to shoot them off.
I think that was yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
the
the
scenes
ants.
of the thief are very visual.
There's just so many great things. There's just so many great moments in the film. I think probably one of my favorites would probably be the rainbow scene when we first meet the alchemist. That whole that was one of my favorite scenes in the film.
Good scene.
Like, there's a rainbow. I want that. Oh yeah, his hat. Do you know what that hat is? Like the alchemist hat has.
It's like a religious kind of hat.
I think it's whatever.
Like it's for like you have to be like a priest or something to wear it.
I don't think it is, but whatever that hat is, I want it. I want that hat. Looks cool. Looks like it's some.
Yeah, if you're a priest or a part of a cult, then you can wear it.
I don't think it is a. You say that. I don't think it is a religious hat. Like I could see it being a sorcerer's, or in this case, alchemist hat. But
Well, maybe it's designed to be that way.
I mean, I'm sure it is. There's also the whole. There's also. This wasn't one of my favorites, but there's also that cool visual with who is the last person they meet, the architects.
Loot?
The last one.
Loot.
The last of the thieves.
Yeah, he's the one from Pluto, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, his name's Loot.
Anyways, we have this scene with Loot after he sells people on all of these rooms, like he just coffins.
Yeah.
Where we also just see this little miniature, and it's just this whole thing of just a city of these coffins stacked on top of each other. It's great. Like a new. Also Axon in this riot scene, which is kind of relevant. Oh boy, that is. But anyways, that is such a weird but also enjoyable scene. Like you see colored fluids and candy come out of people. You see the gases. It's enjoyable. It's hideous and horrible, which it should be. It's the police stopping a peaceful protest. Oh boy. But it's just so it's horrible, but it's visually great. So, how do you think there's the pacing and how the film was put together?
Oh, okay.
How the story.
Want to talk about the pacing?
Pacing and how the story was told. To paraphrase Sardonicast, which, for all of you watching, if you like people talking about movies and you haven't seen them, I would recommend them. They have out. But to paraphrase them, it's not a boring movie. Like I can see how a lot of people would dislike it, but you can't call it boring.
No.
I found it very well paced. There's even the parts when we meet all the other thieves and all the people from all the people which are associated with the planets. We still have all this. There isn't a dull moment. To me, it didn't feel like filler. It was distracting from the plot.
Yeah, I didn't find any filler moments at all. I think the film is quite consistent in that area. What are your thoughts on the scene where the thief rips up all the dolls?
That is, well, I mentioned that earlier, but I found that a great grotesque scene. It feels like just the way like this movie is so colorful, and in that scene we have all these skin tones just so off-putting, and just seeing him tear apart. I found it a great scene. Just a horrific and surreal, dreamlike atmosphere of the whole thing. How about you?
It was fun to watch.
They had to make that was a lot of
It's like dozens and dozens of dolls they made.
Again, this production of this film is just great.
You know the budget is only $700,000.
Let's see. And when was this made?
In 1970s.
I mean, that must be cheap. Obviously, there's inflation, but still.
And another thing, for such a low budget movie, they sure have a lot of people in it. Like, are they like the director's friends or something?
I'm sure some of
his
them
family.
And a lot of times he has his family work in his films, especially Down to Reality, another film of his about his life. He actually has just so, and I'm also sure he just got extras. I wonder if there's behind the scenes of this film. Like, I want to know what went on. I just want to know what happened in this production.
I can't find behind the scenes anywhere. All I can find is the trailer.
Yeah. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is one of the first midnight movies, like Rocky Horror, Racerhead, in that ballpark.
It's like one of the first surreal movies.
Oh no, there's plenty of surreal movies beforehand.
Well, but so you're saying like first Rocky Horror or something?
No, like it's some of the first midnight movies, like people would go late at night in the days when movie theaters exist. I miss those days.
That's debatable.
What is debatable? The movie theaters don't
like being
exist?
One of the first midnight movies.
But it was at least one of the most. It was at least one of the most influential. Same thing with I would love to see this thing late at night. Maybe not now in the theater, but still, I could definitely see how this could be so pop. Oh yeah, that could be a thing. Apparently, a person wrote a book about Eraserhead, Pink Flamingos, and this. That could be a good way to learn about the book. Maybe I'll read that.
Yeah, viewers, if you're confused as to what's happening in the movie, please read a book. You'll get a much better understanding of it.
I don't know. I haven't read the book. What's your thoughts on Horizontally Man?
He's off his rocker.
He's great. He is great.
Okay, there is something very wrong in his mind. But he's a good source of comic relief. But I just find him to be weird.
It's just a random character near the end. We just. I get what he symbolizes. Like, the whole plot are just people on their quest for what's the word? Immortality / what's it called? Enlightenment. Have found other paths which are not as good. Like, we have one we have another person who who says he found the holy mountain in drugs, and the other who found it in his poetry, i.e. art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's enough. I also like the scene. Also like the music in that scene. It was a nice little party jam.
Do you like the music where they climb the mountain?
No. I found that one fine. I don't remember that one too well. Also Jodorowsky walking a tiger. What was your thoughts on the scene where they were crossing the valley to see the immortals?
Scene where they're crossing the valley.
Yes.
Can you give me more detail on it?
Like, they climbed the holy mountain, and they're now walking across the valley. The alchemist has a tiger, and they are seeing all these visions of death.
Oh, yeah. I think it's one of the most gruesome scenes in the movie.
I don't know what those actors. I don't know what
Like,
those
why do we need to know?
actors did.
Why do we need to know what all these deaths are like?
I mean, obvious. I think it's symbolic.
I think they're trying to throw us off track again.
No, I disagree. Like we have.
They
like,
got to be throwing us off track at this point.
What?
They got to be throwing us off track at this point.
I mean, all these people are fearing leaving their mortal world behind. I mean, there's a scene where the guy's being pelted by money, so that's pretty obvious. There's also when you're what's his army, the police captain. There's also the scene where the police captain is watching dogs fight, which can be symbolic of just his love for violence.
Uh-huh.
And and other ones, a little more grotesque, which could just be seen as sexuality / a fear of like losing the material world and also just sexual pleasure.
Do you think the film does well in representing the time skips?
Time skips?
Yeah, like you know how it starts out in the past, like the thief going up the tower. It starts out like in an ancient time, and then we see we see that area again, but it's in the future. Like there's like cars going by, and there's like umbrellas, and then we have a helicopter of the other like symbol, the other embodiments like coming down.
I think it takes place in its own time. I think Jodorowsky was, or / everyone who made the movie was going for a more symbolic. Like these, you also have mentions of all these weird weapons.
To me, it looks like it's transitioning from the past to future.
It doesn't really. Yeah, I think it really. I disagree. Like I think it's supposed to be in every time and no time. Like, have you seen Brazil?
No. Why?
That should be a film. Brazil does something similar. That's a good film. You should see it. Probably do it for the cast. Like you have all of these elements. Like you have these elements. Like even in the scene where you see all the people, like you have all of these different costumes, and this is that's about time than space.
Yeah. Which feel like they're not supposed to invoke a specific place. Like, well, maybe the film is in its own time, but they're showing references to the past and future. Well, maybe they're non-canon.
It's not. Again, I think it is highly symbolic. Like, I mean, right after, like we have, like even in the montage where we see all the other thieves, as they're called. Like when we see their worlds, like we see ray guns being mentioned alongside nuclear bombs, and later on we see more what's the word, imagery more out of the past. I mentioned this briefly, but the first one, what's her name? She has a weapons factory.
Hold on, I'm looking. Isla.
We have Isla as the most apparent example. Like we have all these, like more sci-fi weapons that should look more at the time contemporary weapons, and also weapons from the past. There's trying to think of those. There's also the art. There's also the scene with there's also the governor's scene. There's also the governor's scene, like where we see when we see the tax advisor. What's his name? He has a snake.
Tax advisor. Berg.
Berg, yeah. When we see Berg, and there's both mention of more modern weapons that are horrible, like gas chambers, gas museums, and all that. That's just horrifying. But we also see imagery such as wedding cakes and the like. And then we get to look. and then we get to Lotus Island, where we see some of the people with more old-fashioned costumes, and also the alchemist, who feels like more fantastic, who feels more from the past.
Still kind of mad that they don't mention Mercury in the film. Like, do they want to?
They had how many? Let's see, how many feet?
Are they trying to throw us off?
There's 10. Let's see, there are 10 planets. Let's see, there were 10 pilgrims, correct?
There's 10 characters and
10 characters. So we got
8 of the planets are used.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars,
Jupiter, Saturn,
Uranus, Neptune,
then
Pluto. But we also have this. But we also have the sun. But we also not the sun. But we also have the thief. The thief
has to be Earth.
Yeah, which I think one of them was. I think one of them was Mercury.
Like the alchemist's assistant.
I'm not sure if she was potentially. Like, how many of the thieves? How many of the people were they?
Well,
like all the thieves.
Well, there's 10, including the assistant.
10?
Maybe she's Mercury.
Yeah. So 10 minus 3 would be 7. We are. Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, I think you're right.
She's got to be Mercury. Yeah, it makes sense that the alchemist is his son, because he guides everyone.
Mm-hmm. I think we're coming to the end.
Okay.
Anything else that caught your mind you want to mention?
Do you think the people, the main characters, return to their home worlds?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are on their planets. I think they're symbolized by planets.
But do you think they ever return?
I don't think they do. I think, like, obviously there's the fourth wall break, but I think they might have just ascended reality, ascended beyond. I think they ascended beyond the film.
Okay. I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Might come off as a bit personal, but are you into religious movies?
Like, do you mean like God's Not Dead or more spiritual films?
Both.
I mean, I typically with more religious films, not too keen on them. Like, not too keen on them. Like, I don't really. Granted, I haven't seen too many, but there are a few. Like Life of Pi.
Yeah.
I think it is an interesting concept to explore. I don't think it's always explored well though, but it is an interesting concept. As for more spiritual movies, I think those are interesting and enjoyable. Like films that are less literal, such as this one.
Okay.
What about you?
It's not really my thing. Like, I don't watch religious films on a regular basis.
And this is,
is this? But don't get me wrong, I like this film. It's very surreal. Contains a lot of bizarre imagery. Yeah, I like it.
I don't think it's so. It uses religious imagery, but I wouldn't call it religious. It's more. I would say it's more spiritual.
Okay. I see it as religious and spiritual.
Why would you see it? Why do you say it's religious?
I mean, it talks about Jesus. There's a scene where he gets hanged on a cross.
Yeah,
we have a scene where he closes his eyes and the alchemist tells him to, have like a vision quest or something. I don't really remember it, but and they're literally searching for enlightenment.
Yeah, but it's not like there's
scenes with churches.
There's religious visuals, but I wouldn't say those are central to the but I wouldn't say they are central to the theme. Like this is more about the traveling to enlightenment, and it's treated fairly secularly.
I know, but the film talks about particular religions such as alchemy and Christianity.
Yeah, but those aren't the primary. Yeah, but alchemy's not really a religion. That's more of a philosophy. Science-ish. But I have to say this again. Although there's a lot of religious imagery, which makes sense. A lot, like it is about finding something It's about, even from a more detached level, finding something spiritual or deeper, which is something that is very particular to a religion. It is not the theme of the movie. The film is not really about Jesus or Christianity.
You want to get to recommendations?
Sure. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, would you recommend this?
I would give you it a recommendation. It's very odd, a little artsy, not always pleasant, but still, I think it's a very interesting film, and I quite enjoyed it. There's some scenes with animals that are a little off-putting if you don't want to see them. If you understand that you're not off-put by that, like I would say don't. I'm fine with that, and I think it's a great film, edging on incredible, and I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. You?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 9 like you. Because I like it too, and I would recommend this film for people who have peculiar tastes in midnight films. Like this film isn't for everyone. It contains a lot of unpleasant scenes. The imagery is very grotesque, and it explores a lot of adult topics.
So that's something.
Like, if you're not creeped out by it, then go watch it.
Yeah, I mean, even I would say more disgusting, but I forgot to mention, like, the more grotesque stuff is well contrasted with the more spiritual elements. It helps make the more prettier moments more engaging.
Yeah, I'd say it's a 50-50 ratio, pretty much.
Yeah. What do you want to watch? Do you have any ideas for next week?
Next week we gotta watch a film that it has a very high rating. It can be from any year, but it has to be like popular.
Popular?
Yeah, from any year.
So you mean like The Boy?
No, I don't know, but I'll look it up. Okay.
What about Avatar?
Huh?
What about Avatar?
Avatar?
Like the blue people.
No, I'll look it up, okay? I'll look one up.
Okay. Alright. Thank you all for watching.
Okay.
And I hope you all have a good day.
Thank you for joining me, TJ.
Thank you, Luca.
I'll talk to you later.